Okay, let's jump right in. It feels like AI agents are popping up everywhere, right? And building a prototype on your laptop has never been easier. But how do you take that cool idea, that little spark, and actually turn it into something secure, something that can scale across your entire company? That's the real puzzle, and it's exactly what we're going to unpack here.
So, you've done it. You built an agent. It does something amazing, and it runs like a charm right there on your machine. But what's next? Is that agent really ready to be used by thousands of people, handling sensitive company data and plugging into your most critical systems? Honestly, this is the exact spot where so many promising agent projects get completely stuck.
And this slide just nails the difference. On one side, you've got your local prototype. It's fun, it's exciting, you can experiment all you want. But on the other side, whoa, that's production scale. That's a whole different beast. We're talking about real security, auditable identity, strict compliance, deep observability, and just rock-solid reliability. Trying to build all of that from scratch, that's a massive, massive undertaking. So this brings us to what you could call the enterprise agent problem. It's that huge, complex gap between having a clever agent that can do something cool and having a compliant, trustworthy agent that your company can actually deploy without getting a headache. This quote just hits the nail on the head. You know, the whole game has changed. The really hard part isn't creating the agent anymore. It's all about deploying it. Getting that agent to run securely for everyone, with true isolation between users and a real, traceable identity, that's the new challenge. So, with a problem that big, what's the solution? Well, this is where Foundry-hosted agents come into the picture. And this isn't just another service to run your code. It's a whole system designed from the ground up to bridge that massive gap from a simple prototype to a full-blown production agent. So what are they really? Well, at its core, Hosted Agents is a managed platform inside Microsoft Foundry that takes care of all those tricky enterprise-level problems for you. It lets you bring your own code, use whatever agent framework you like, and deploy it all into an environment that already has all those critical controls baked right in.
Okay, let's peel back the layers and get into the core of how this all works, starting with the compute itself, because this is where a lot of the magic happens that makes these agents both secure and ready to scale. And this is a totally fair question. I know what you're probably thinking. Hey, I already use containers. I use serverless. Why can't I just use those? And that's a great question, because the answer really shows why agents need a totally different kind of compute environment to work properly.
This table breaks it all down. With the traditional stuff, you often have multiple users sharing one container, which is a total isolation nightmare for an agent that's, writing files or running code. You have to build your own way to save state. You're usually stuck with a single shared service account, a huge security risk, and you're either paying for it 24/7 or you're dealing with painfully slow cold starts. Hosted agents, they just solve all of these problems for you right out of the box. Let's double-click on that isolation piece because it's a really big deal. We're not just talking about separating processes. Every single time a user chats with your agent, it spins up a brand new, dedicated, secure sandbox just for them. This is hypervisor-level isolation, the same tough security that powers the entire cloud. So, if two different salespeople use your agent at the same time, their files, their data, their context, they never, ever mix. And then there's identity. This is a game changer for security and compliance. As soon as you deploy your agent, it gets its very own unique ID from Microsoft Entra. That means every single thing it does is traceable. Every file it touches is auditable. It can have its own specific permissions, or it can act on behalf of a user, using their permissions. This completely gets rid of that old dangerous practice of using one shared super powerful service account for everything. Okay, now this is where things get really smart and cost-effective. Hosted agents can scale to zero. That just means if nobody is using your agent, you pay absolutely nothing. But, and this is the key part, the moment a new request comes in, the session resumes instantly with its entire file system and state exactly how it was left. All the files, all the session data, it's all still there. And it can stay there for up to 30 days. That is incredibly powerful for long-running complex tasks. But look, a powerful compute environment is really only half the battle, right? To be actually useful, agents need to be plugged into the rest of the company. And that's where the integrated platform part comes in. Because, let's be real, a super powerful agent that's just running by itself in a box is kind of useless. The real value, the magic, is unlocked when that agent can securely connect to and reason over your organization's unique data, your work stuff, your business data, all that collective knowledge.
This sales prep agent is just a perfect example of how it all connects. So first, it taps into Work IQ to look at your calendar, emails, and Teams chats. Then it hits up Fabric IQ to pull hard business numbers like customer contracts and usage data. Next, it searches Foundry IQ to find the latest sales materials from across the company. And finally, it pulls all of that together to create a personalized briefing doc. It's this beautiful, integrated, data-driven workflow.
And the best part is you get to build all this cool stuff with the tools you already know and love. Foundry is designed to be super flexible. You can bring any framework you want. LangGraph, Microsoft Agent Framework, Semantic Kernel, you name it. You just define your environment with a standard Docker file. There's no lock-in. It's all about letting you use the best tools for the job.
So you've built this incredible data-connected agent. The last piece of the puzzle is, how do you get it in front of your users? And you shouldn't have to build a brand new app from scratch and just hope people find it.
And that's where one-click publishing is so cool. You can take that hosted agent you just built and publish it directly into Microsoft 365 and Teams. That means your users can find and start chatting with your agent right inside their Copilot experience, the place where they are already working every single day.
Okay, let's zoom back out for a second and put all of these pieces together. We started with that big problem of taking a local agent and getting it ready for the enterprise. Let's do a quick recap of how this whole platform solves that.
At the end of the day, Foundry provides that built-in, enterprise-grade foundation you need. You get real identity with those per-agent Entra IDs. You get full observability with fleet management and cost tracking. And you get solid governance with things like content filtering and VNet integration for your private network. It really is the complete package for going from a simple experiment to a safe, production-ready service.
So, we end with this question. Your agent, that idea you have, the one you built on your laptop, it has so much potential. The tools are finally here to take that potential and make it truly powerful, genuinely secure, and ready to scale across your entire organization. The only question left is, are you ready to take that next step?